You know, it's like the frog in the pot metaphor.
That and no-knock warrants.
Oh,
This issue
absolutely.
of no-knock warrants, and these idiots can't even get the right address, and children are being hurt. And at the end of the day, it is supposed to be about safety, isn't it? It is supposed to be about, why do you enforce the law? You're enforcing the law to enforce the social contract that we
Right.
all have
The
in the
myth.
society. We have a social contract with each other,
I
but
call
they're
it
not
the myth
doing
of the
that.
social contract. You know what's
They've
funny?
broken it. They
Well,
have broken the social contract. And
well,
in
yeah.
many ways, I feel like we got the Fourth Reich right here.
Well, we absolutely do. I mean, America reminds me of some stuff that I've read academically about World War II. Like at, during the close of the Second World War, our soldiers literally had to take German citizens on tours of the camps to show them the emaciated Jews, to show them the piles and piles of dead gypsies, to show them the half worked to death and piles of ashes beside the incinerators of burnt homeless people because they couldn't believe it was happening in their beautiful thousand-year Reich. You have the same thing in America. Okay, Americans, there are more Americans per capita in American prisons than communist China. You know, yet China has the largest population on Earth. You know, what's wrong with this picture? If we're the freest, most enlightened, wonderful, shining on the hill of an example of a perfect society, then why is it that we have more people in prisons than in quote unquote oppressive communist China? Why is it legal for cops to torture people on the street? Why do we have a society and a social norm of watching police beat people to death in the streets? It's just absolutely crazy. You know what? You know what's gonna put a big smile on my face, Hart, and then I'll let you wrap up. This is gonna put a smile on my face. I'll know there's some positive change in this country when this happens. I've seen way too many videos online of cops beating people to death, or tasering them, or murdering them, or tasering old ladies when there's hundreds of people standing around watching doing nothing. I'm sorry, but if you're going to continually beat people to death and murder them in public, I'm looking forward to the day when I see a bunch of people just rise up and just beat the fuck out of some cops. If they're going to frequently break the law in front of everybody and murder people in front of people, I'm not gonna be crying about it when a mob runs up and beats the fuck out of those officers. I'm not gonna. I'm sorry. That's my opinion. I'm not calling for that violence, but I'm damn sure not gonna fucking go, oh my god, that's horrible. How could they kill those officers that were murdering somebody in front of them?
Pretty brutal, dude. Pretty brutal. I think that's part of what happens when you get involved in a fight like this. You start getting more and more angry. In my time of doing Heart Attack, it's been disheartening. A lot of doing this show has been very difficult. A lot of the news we cover, they say ignorance is bliss, and it's very, very true. When you are a sleeping giant, you're unaware of these things that are happening in your country that you love. And then you start researching it, and you start digging deeper. And in this course of doing Heart Attack, I've started getting involved in politics and the local politics and buildings and real estate. And I'm seeing a real systemic corruption, a nation of cheaters and liars and backstabbers. And I feel like the good people and the right people are being marginalized. And when I say the right people, I'm saying the just people that want to just go to work and get along in a society and do right by each other. They're getting beat up and run down. The one-eyed, stupid idiot god of the television set is now controlled by a corporate oligarchy that is feeding us lie upon lie, and they have rewritten the laws so that Fox News has the legal right to call themselves a news station when legally they are a entertainment network.
Yep.
It is not a news
Yeah,
channel. It is an entertainment
it
network.
even states
So
that in its
they cannot
corporate.
be held to a standard.
Yeah, in Fox's corporate charter, it's called news and entertainment, in the definition of what that
Yeah.
corporation is. Yeah, that's a Supreme Court decision actually that Fox was involved with, stated that all news organizations can lie and misrepresent. It's considered their First Amendment right to lie. Any news organization, right, left, or center.
And also, the Supreme Court ruled that police officers are allowed to lie to you when you're in interrogation.
Absolutely.
They are allowed
Right.
Why would you talk to an officer? How can you trust somebody who can legally lie to you?
Right.
How can you possibly trust them? How
Yeah.
can you be? How can you go say, you know what? I'm going to answer your questions. I'll go right ahead. Yeah, officer, you want to ask me about that accident that happened around the corner of my house? Sure,
Right.
I'll talk to you.
I have to.
Knowing that they can lie to you legally and set you up,
Right.
it's pretty
Yeah,
frightening.
it says in your Miranda, just quickly, Art, it says in your Miranda rights, anything you say can and will be used against you. It doesn't say, oh, well, if you explain yourself really well to the officer, maybe he'll help you. No, it says anything you say can and will be, not it might be used against you. It will be used against you. And just quickly, there's something something your listeners need to understand is that when a cop, you're not legally obligated to speak with a policeman or policewoman unless you're being detained. Detention means that they suspect and have a reasonable suspicion that you've committed a crime. So this is a language you need to use to a cop when you're speaking with them, and you have to record it because they'll make up whatever lie they want. Turn a camera on, pull your phone out, start recording.
When you're in court, the thing that you have to remember as a citizen, as a regular person, when you go to court, the officer, the judge, and the courts will weigh upon him more than you.
Of course.
For some reason, in the courts, even though you're not guilty until proven,
right?
So by a jury of your peers, according to our law and according to our Constitution, they're still saying, you know, an officer's word outweighs your word. Well,
right.
Why? Especially now that we have these drug seizure laws in place where officers and police departments are having their equipment, their military equipment, financed by property seizures.
Right. It's asset forfeiture seizure where they're robbing people left and right and stealing cars and oh yeah. But just really quickly, getting back to what I was saying, when you're approached by a law enforcement officer, yes, Hart's right. The police will always have a standing in court that's above you. That's why you need to turn your phone on and you say, officer, am I being detained? If they say you are not being detained, then say, officer, then I'm free to go, right? It's very important that you do not leave if he doesn't answer. Get the officer to say, you're free to go. If the officer says you're detained, that's an intermediary step between being full on arrested. At that point, if the officer says, yes, you are being detained, say, I invoke my right to remain silent. I would like to speak with a lawyer, please. And I want you to repeat that like a metronome until the cop is so sick of hearing your voice that he's willing to do anything other than interact with you. I invoke my right to remain silent. I would like to speak with a lawyer. And it's also very important to say this as you're being arrested. I do not consent. I do not consent to search of my person or my property. And the reason why is because anything the officer saw before you say that, or any evidence that he collected before you say, I do not consent to search of my person or my property, legally it shouldn't be used in court. Your lawyer can say the officer didn't have any reasonable suspicion to know what was inside John Smith's backpack, and John Smith did not consent to this search. Police are so used to you allowing their uniform and the charisma that's associated with that uniform and that gun in their position to allow people to consent to being searched.
How about your trust in the authority figure?
Exactly. Yes.
To trust that this is the authority
right.
figure.
They're here to protect you.
Them.
No, they're not here to serve and protect you. They're there to serve your warrants and protect private interest and to indiscriminately generate revenue for the municipality that they work in. And in a lot of cities, they say, oh, well, we don't have quotas. No, they don't have arrest quotas anymore. They have something called performance reviews. And if you don't get so many arrests, right.
It's even worse than that. How about if you want to get a promotion, you have to show a certain amount of felony arrests. You have to show
That's exactly what I was talking about. Yeah, in their paperwork, it is a quota. It's called a performance review. If you can see the video I'm making, I put it in little air quotes. A performance review is, yes, you have to have this many felony arrests. You have to have this many, ticketed arrests if you're a transit officer. And it affects your ability and how well you're fast-tracked to promotion. Absolutely right. So they just changed the language, and then by some magic of the pen or the typewriter or the computer, it's no longer an arrest quota.
At all.
Right.
On that note, Mike, we got to call it to an end. We're
All
at
right,
the end
man.
of another heart attack. Where can people find you online, Mike?
Sure, man. You can join us on Facebook at FTP Film the Police Portland. You can check out my work on Mike BlueHair on YouTube. Please do like, subscribe, talk about my videos. Oh, and by the way, I love my fucking trolls. If you hate what I do, if you have the utmost respect for law enforcement and you want to fillet authority at any given moment, please do start an argument on my YouTube channel. I really, really love it when you do it because I really enjoy that kind of conflict. So, yeah, bring it.
On that note, Mike, thanks for coming back to
Yeah,
Heart
man.
Attack, folks. If you want to find me, we're at Heart Attack Radio on Twitter. You can find us at facebook.com/Heart Attack Radio. And folks, I'm going to leave you with one final thought. When you are dealing with an officer of the law, stay calm. If you are being provoked, stay calm. Anything you do, say, can and will be used against you in a court of law. Like Mike said, it isn't might be used against you, it is will be.
Right.
So stay calm. That man has a gun on his hip. That woman has a gun on their hip. Be calm. And that's the end of the show, Mike.
All right, man. That was great, man. That was awesome to have you and be able to speak with you. Thank you. That was like a cathartic release, this show, because I was just on KUFO's 101 FM speaking with Clyde Lewis, Ground Zero, and Clyde's an old friend of mine, and his show is really fun. Have you ever been on his show?
No, it sounds pretty cool. I'd love to check that out.
Oh, you need to check out Ground Zero Radio. You'd really enjoy that. This guy does a psycho...
I think Keith posted that on my page.
Oh, Clyde did?
No, Keith.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he probably did. Yeah, the Ground Zero show that I was on. Yeah. Yeah, it was simulcast on. I didn't know this. I just thought it was KUFO's local FM radio station. Like his producer tells me after the show's over, because she knows me and she knew I would have got hella nervous. She's all, "Oh, by the way, this was nationally syndicated on 240 some odd FM stations." I'm all, "Are you serious?" And she's like, "Yeah." And like I turned beet red, you know.
Oh man, that's awesome.
I know.
Must have been hard to watch your language on FM, huh?
It was very hard because I got a serious potty mouth issue. I really do. All right.
I've been working on it. The radio thing has been forcing me to get a little better at it. Like when I first started doing Heart Attack, I went from a 10-minute rant to doing a full hour, and I had to refigure out what's the show about, what are we doing here, and so I've been trying to calm down. And we're actually looking to try to syndicate more with actual terrestrial radio. I might be in that position where we go without cursing ourselves because I want to get on terrestrial radio. I'm here to influence people and to get the word out and change people's minds about a lot of things, a lot of assumptions they have.
No.
And, make America a better place for
Sure.
Americans.